Hey y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative. Today is Sunday, February 24th, 2019, and this is episode 12. I am Susan, your host. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and also on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. I'm reaching out to grab my camera. As you can see, I'm filming outside today. I was kind of torn between the desire to do several different things. It is sunny here today and 70 degrees, and it's the first time the sun's been out in like weeks, it feels like, here in North Carolina. So I really wanted to get outside, but also really wanted to get this recorded, even though I don't have a whole lot to show. So I apologize for the kind of weird lighting. I had to put the umbrella up to get the sun out of my direct eyes, which is why my head is in shade, but my bottom is in sun. And hopefully this won't be too bad when I get inside after I record. If the things that I show are not easily seen, I'll try to insert some pictures as well so you can see it better. But anyway, I just couldn't resist the chance to be outside for a little bit before I have to go back to work tomorrow, and before I think it's supposed to start raining again later this week. So it is also a little windy, so that's why I may occasionally have to reach out and just grab the tripod to make sure that the camera doesn't blow away. Anyway, I did want to record because February has gotten away from me, and my goal was to podcast at least once a month, a calendar month, and February is almost over. So work has been really busy, and I don't have as much to show as I might normally have, having been gone for 5 weeks or so, but thought I'd show you what I did have. But before we get into that, let me just start with a couple things. As I've mentioned before, I do have a Ravelry group, and in that group I have an introduction thread, and we have had 3 people introduce themselves since last time, which I greatly appreciate. And so I wanted to introduce you to those people. I encourage you to go to that thread and introduce yourself, and also read everyone else's introductions and learn more about your fellow viewers and just your fellow crafters and knitters in general. But excuse me, I do still have just an occasional cough. First, Ann, my friend Ann, who is ENRN on Ravelry, and I think all the places, Instagram as well. She is from South Carolina, just south of Charlotte, that whole metro area. I can't remember exactly which town she lives in, but Ann is a friend that I know in real life. She and I met through the Carolina Fiber Frolic. Woo! My sun hit my eyes there for a second. And she is a very talented knitter and spinner and multi-crafter. She is one half of the Carolina Fiber Girls, which is an audio podcast which has not recorded in quite a while. I'm not sure if they have decided to absolutely stop or if they're just taking a very long break. But hopefully they maybe someday will podcast again. If not, she's still a very good friend, and I appreciate you introducing yourself, Ann. Second is also another friend in real life, Trish. She is I Gotta Knit on Ravelry. She is a friend of mine from one of my knitting groups in my local area, and she is moved to North Carolina a couple years ago from the Seattle, Washington area. She does. She says that she is a process knitter, and she does a lot of awesome sweaters. She has done. I can't remember the name of the pattern. I think it's not Vera Wang. That's a like regular designer. Not Vera Valimaki. It's Jenny Wang. It's a Brooklyn tweed pattern. She's one of the designers that designs for Brooklyn tweed a lot. And she's done one of the cabled, really multi-cabled sweaters. And I should have looked up the name of it. But anyway, go check out I Gotta Knit's Ravelry page. I believe she does do Ravelry pages for all her projects, because she's done some really intricate sweaters and has been knitting a long time. And we're glad that she moved to North Carolina from the Seattle, Washington area a couple of years ago. We've enjoyed having her in our group. And then third is Linda, who is also a friend of mine from one of my knitting groups, the same group that I know Trish. Linda is also a relatively recent transplant to North Carolina, this time from the Louisiana area. Linda's Ravelry name is Flora Dora. I don't know if she's on Instagram. I think she is, but I can't remember what her Instagram name is. But I haven't known Linda quite as long, but I've enjoyed getting to know her. And Linda, thank you for introducing yourself as well. So again, those 3 have introduced themselves since last time. If you have not, please go to the introductions thread on the Ravelry group. The Ravelry group is Criminally Creative Podcast, or just, yeah, Criminally Creative Podcast, and introduce yourself. I also put all my show notes in that group for each episode. So with links to my projects that I talk about, and any other items that have linkable things, then I put those in the Ravelry group. So moving on to knitting. As I've mentioned, I don't have as much to show you today, and actually several things that I have finished I no longer have in my possession, so I only have pictures to show you. I will put those pictures in here. Those are and all but one. No, I haven't showed you. I only showed one of them before. Again, anyway, I don't know, my brain is a sieve these days. But I will insert pictures here. I finished another outfit for my stuffed Dolores doll, the Franklin Habit Dolores, and that is the caftan pattern, which I'll put a picture in. Dolores lives in my office, so that is already back at my office. I also finished the Lucerne hat. I think I showed you this last time, that I was knitting my son-in-law a replacement hat from Christmas because my daughter accidentally felted the one that I made for him, which was largely my fault because I forgot to tell them that it was not machine washable. So I knit him another one in some machine washable yarn, and gave that to him a few weeks ago when I saw him. So I'll put a picture of that in here as well. Also, I knit two other hats. A person that I know only through an online forum that I'm on has a young daughter, 3-year-old daughter, who is currently undergoing treatment for cancer involving chemotherapy, and has been losing her hair. And so he had asked for anyone who could provide some hats for her. So I knit a couple of hats for her, and so I'll put pictures of those in as well. I did an anemone hat for her, which is a pattern on Ravelry that has little twisty curls all over the hat. And I also did another little hat called a pie topper, which I did out of kind of a stretchy cotton yarn. And I've already seen at least one picture on Facebook of her wearing the pie topper hat, so hopefully she's getting some enjoyment out of that, and hopefully her treatment goes well and she will be in remission soon. So those projects I don't have anymore, but I do have two verdicts with me that I can show you in person. The first, excuse me, my drink of choice, if I have a choice, is Cherry Coke Zero. So I'm having one of those today. The first I want to show you, I have showed you in progress. Last time it was a mystery knit along, the Young, Scrappy, and Cozy Cowl by Mary Anarella, who is also known as Lyrical Knits. I did this out of Miss Babs Yowza, one of her trios that she started selling, which are smaller skeins of Miss Babs Yowza with 3 colors that go together. And I did this in the colors Cordovan, Oyster, and Topaz. Cordovan, I think I said this wrong last time. Cordovan is the burgundy-ish color, Oyster is the kind of taupey color, and Topaz is the green. I knit this on a US 5 3.75 millimeter needle. And this is the finished shawl, finished cowl. And I have a hoodie on, so it's gonna be hard to see how this goes. But this is designed. Oh, there's another dent there somewhere. Sorry. Pretty much to be worn like this. As I've mentioned before, the pattern is it's designed with some words in some of these areas that I chose not to do because they were related to the musical Hamilton, which I've heard is a fabulous musical, but I know nothing about, so the words had no meaning to me, so I left them out. I apologize for the coughing. I'm still a little bit of coughing. The more I talk, the more I cough. Anyway, so it's a nice cowl. It's got, some drape up here. It's designed, to kind of hang down a little bit more bandana style with this angle. I enjoyed knitting it. It was a relatively newish construction for me. I think the end result is attractive. However, it's probably not something that I really would wear much, just style-wise, because I don't wear a lot of cowls, and when I do, I tend to like the ones that don't stay around your neck that close all the time. I like them to be longer where I can double them up if I want to. So this will either go into my bin where I kind of keep things that when I need a gift, or I might actually, because I think that bin is getting a few things in it, I may seek out a local place to donate some things for homeless people who may need some cold stuff, because I think, despite the fact that it's 70 degrees today, that we are probably going to be getting some more cold weather again. And then the other finished object I have to show you is not blocked, but I will not be blocking it, so I wanted to show you while I still had it. I can't remember if I showed this to you at all before. I think that I mentioned I'd started it, but it wasn't much to show, so I did not. But I finished a lace weight shawl that I was knitting for a friend of mine's daughter is getting married, and this is one of her bridesmaid shawls. The pattern is Marriage by Lena, L-E-N-A, and this is knit out of Juniper Moon Farm. Findlay is the blend, I guess the style of yarn, not the style, what do you call that? It's her lace weight, and Findlay is what they call their lace weight. I knit this on a US 4 3.5 millimeter needle, and as I mentioned, it is not blocked. The colorway is Dove, which is a gray with a, I would say, a taupish undertone of gray. And as you can see, it's a stockinette base, and then it has a lace border, and then the lace border, which I'm going to try to show you if I can get the light good here. I apologize for this big shadow going right across my face. So this part of the lace from, whoops, sorry, wrong finger. Apologize, didn't mean to shoot you the middle finger. This part of the lace from there down to here was knit in rows with the same direction as the stockinette, and then this part is a knitted on border where you cast on extra stitches and knit to the thing and knit two together with one of the stitches that's on the needle. And so for every row that way and back, you're gathering one stitch from what was the base of the shawl. So the knitted on border takes a little while. So I have knit this pattern before. This is the same pattern that I knit for myself to wear to my daughter's wedding in 2014. I did knit it last time in a little bit smaller needle, and I think I'm kind of glad this one was a bigger needle, as far as I think it will block out to be a much nicer shawl. I had kind of wished the one I made for my daughter's wedding was a little bit bigger. Also, I guess kind of as a thank you for knitting this shawl for my friend Peggy, she had sent me a set of the circular needle, not circular, the Signature Needle Arts interchangeable circular needles to knit that on. And oh no, the sun's going, this makes it much better lighting. I think I'm a convert, y'all. They're really expensive needles, and the thing that has really always prevented me from purchasing those before is the fact that, like, this was knit on a US 4. If you get the interchangeable, the cords for the US 4 tips only fit the US 4 tips. So if you buy US 4 tips and you want more than one size cord, you have to buy, you know, the different size cords for the US 4. But then if you have a US 3 tip, the US 4 cord will not fit the US 3 tip, which makes for a much smoother join, but a lot more expensive purchasing. One cord is about $20. The tips are, I think, $22 or $25 each, something like that. So a tip with a cord is about $45. So it's very, very pricey, but they are so nice. So I am not going to rush out and buy a whole set. I actually have several sets of interchangeable needles, all of which I like for various purposes, but I might slowly start accumulating the Signature, they call them convertibles, they don't call them interchangeables. I might slowly start accumulating some of those because they are very, very nice, and I do like them a lot. Anyway, so that's all I have to show you for verdicts. And I just have a couple of things for court and session that I'm going to show you. I have dabbled a little bit here and there on a couple of things. My sock yarn blanket, my northeasterly blanket, a couple of other, I'm working on a test knit shawl for my friend Martha, a pattern that she is planning to release soon, I think. But I forgot to ask her if I could show it to you, so I'm not going to. Hopefully I will have that next time to actually show you finished, maybe. So just the couple things that I want to show you is I have almost finished my February Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I'm doing these as vanilla toe-up socks, 2 at a time. And this month's colorway that I'm doing is the Grand Budapest Hotel, which is a movie from a couple years ago, is where the name comes from. But since they were pink and gray, I thought this was an appropriate colorway for February. And I have finished the feet and turned the heels, and I'm on the legs. These have to be finished by the end of February, which is Thursday. But I have already done a couple of wind bursts there. Okay, y'all just missed that. The umbrella I have on my table, the wind caught it, and I swear it went like a foot high in the air. Fortunately, it is in a long tube and would have to go several feet high in the air to come completely out of it. But good thing I'm not doing this very long. Anyway, I have done a couple inches on the leg already. And since I don't really like the legs of my socks more than about 3.5, 4 inches long, and they have to be at least 3 inches to qualify for the Desert Vista Dye Works knit along, I should be able to finish these in the next couple of days with no problem. I'll just have to sit down and work on them for a couple hours. So I'll probably do, I like to do I don't do my legs as long as my foot, but I just finished, I'm working on that pink. I probably will finish at do another set of the gray and finish with the pink rib there. So so those should be done in the next couple of days. And again, this is my standard toe up vanilla sock with Fish Lips Kiss heel that I do on a US 0.2 millimeter needle. I currently have these in a Jan Smiley bag, which is kind of a calligraphy pattern bag. Calligraphy is something that I have done sporadically off and on for years, so that's just one of my other interests. I just really like the bag. And then the other work in progress, excuse me, the other work in progress that I'm going to show you is one you have not seen before. I just cast it on this week, but it is on a deadline. So for some reason, I don't know what possessed me, because it's not like I have all the knitting time in the world today. I offered to knit a booth sample for Ashley from Twist Fiber Studio for Carolina Fiber Fest in March. And so I got the yarn from her this week, and I am knitting the Suburban Wrap by Joji Locatelli. And this is in Twist Fiber Studio Lexington Fingering, which is her sparkle yarn. Let me take this off. I like her sparkle because it is a silver sparkle, and I am more of a silver person than a gold person when it comes to metallics. So I have started this and done the ribbing in section 1, and which is lace, which the purple colorway is called Alpha Violet, and I have done section 2, which is the striping with color 1, the Alpha Violet, and the color 2 is a mint color, which is called Fresh. And I've started section 3, the eyelet, garter eyelet. And the third color will be this color, which is called Ariel's Peril. And I believe, since to me that's mermaidish colors, that's Ariel, Disney Mermaid, and Ariel, Disney Mermaid. I don't know, I don't have little kids anymore, and my granddaughter is not as much into the Disney princesses as she is into Pokemon. So so this will be the third colorway. When I finish this eyelet section, this will be the next color. And so this is probably going to be my main focus the next couple weeks, because I do need to get this done in the next couple weeks for Ashley for a booth sample for Carolina Fiber Fest. I have this in a new bag I just got. This is a excuse me. This is a bag I actually ordered off Amazon. It's from a company called Timoy, and it's I didn't realize it was going to be so big. There were 2 sizes, and I ordered the large because I'm horrible at gauging measurements, And I like the size of this, but I'd maybe go back and order the small one just to have something a little smaller to tote around, because what I liked about it was that you could put it on your arm like this and walk around and knit. But it is, it has stripes inside. It has 2 pockets inside, and it has this zipper pocket on the outside, which is actually big enough. I have the paper copy of the pattern that Ashley sent me for this in here. So that is deep on the big size of this bag. That is deep enough for a full letter size pattern to go in without having to fold it up. It does have the grommet holes, I believe, on both sides if you like to run your yarn through there. I'm not a fan of that, because once you run it through there and start knitting on your project, then the yarn is always outside the bag and has to go back in that way, and I don't like that. Although I suppose if you were cutting your yarn frequently, then that would not be as big of an issue. But anyway, I did, like I said, I ordered that off of Amazon. The brand name is Teamoy, T-E-A-M-O-Y. There might be 2 M's in there, I'm not sure. I will put a link in the show notes on the Ravelry group. But anyway, I like that. It's a nice, good canvas-y fabric on the outside, and then the inside is kind of like a quilter's cotton type fabric. Anyway, so that is really all I have to show you. It's a much shorter episode, but I did not want to wait much longer to record, because I didn't want to get as piled up as I was last time. And again, like I said, my goal is to try to record at least once every calendar month during these busy months of my work. So February's almost over, and I needed to get it done. Just a couple things about my calendar. I will be at the Carolina Fiber Frolic March 15th through 17th, which is in Sapphire Valley, Sapphire, North Carolina. You can, that event, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, still has at least a couple of slots open. That's run by Jan Smiley. And this is the Spring Frolic, which means that there are also classes involved. I will be taking 2 classes from Kate Larson, who is a wonderful spinning teacher. I'm taking spinning a sound single, and then I'm also taking a class from her that is about knitting with your hand spun yarn. So it's not actually a spinning class, but spinning related. There are also some knitting classes. I know that Heather Storda, I think her last name, is teaching, and somebody else is teaching a couple of knitting classes. There is some punch needle classes this time, and I can't remember if there were any dyeing classes. Sometimes there are, but I can't. Anyway, it was hard for me. There were at least 4 of Kate Larson's classes that I wanted to take, and I narrowed it down to 2 just because I don't like to be in class all weekend. I like to have some time at this event to sit around and knit and talk to friends and stuff. So I did not really look as closely at some of the other classes just because I was so interested in all the Kate Larson classes. So, but anyway, I will be at that March 15th through 17th. If you have any interest in attending, I believe there are still some spaces. There's a website for that I believe is on Blogger, but if you just Google Carolina Fiber Frolic, that will come up, and you can download the registration form. That is a very affordable event. 1 class is included in your registration fee, and then you can purchase additional classes. Most people stay at the Hampton Inn that is right across from the area where the classes and daily things are held, but there are also an option to rent some condo type things if you are more interested in staying in that type of setting. But the Hampton Inn, everybody gathers in the lobby at night, because the community center we're in closes at 9, so we all gather in the lobby and drink wine in our pajamas and knit afterwards. So, and then that same weekend, an event that I will not be at, but that will be going on in Raleigh, there's going to be a pre-event party for the Carolina Fiber Fest. So the Carolina Fiber Fest is the next weekend, Friday, March 22nd and Saturday, March 23rd. And I will be at Carolina Fiber Fest, which I'll talk more about in just a minute. But we had an opportunity this year to move to a bigger building. However, that opportunity did not come early enough for us to move this year's event, because we can only get it the weekend before. So we would have had to change the dates of this year's event, and we did not want to do that it was too close this year to do that. So, but in order to get that bigger building, we had to reserve it this year. So we are doing a pre-event party the weekend before Carolina Fiber Fest. So it will be Saturday, March 16th in Raleigh, in the Expo Center building. I couldn't think of the name, at the State Fairgrounds. And that is just going to be kind of it's a free event. Come, bring a lawn chair or a camping chair or whatever. Sit around, knit, bring your spinning wheel. It's really just going to be kind of a gathering. There may be some knitting guilds and groups there doing some demonstrations. There may be some yarn shops there doing demonstrations only. They will not be doing any selling. The only sales opportunity available for that weekend is there will be a used fiber equipment sale. If you have spinning wheels, looms, knitting needles, anything that's fiber related equipment, not fiber, not yarn, then there is a form on our website that you can pre-register to have a table to sell your used equipment at. I believe it is $15 per table. So if you, 2 or 3 of you friends have stuff that you want to, try to de-stash, excuse me, you can go together to rent a table. If you rent a table, you will get a table and 2 chairs. So if you need additional chairs, more than 2, then you need to bring your own. And you're free to sell your used equipment. Again, no yarn, no fiber. We are not allowing anything that would conflict with the type of vending opportunities that our vendors who have paid to vend at the full event, the 22nd and 23rd, will be selling. So, but you don't have to sell anything. You can come and hang out for as long as you want to. The time is on the website. I believe it's 10 to 4. And I should have looked that up, but I didn't think to. So I will probably put that down at the bottom here. Also, they're probably going to do maybe an impromptu fashion show at a couple times. If you want to bring something you want to show off. Just, stop by and meet some people. So, but then the next weekend, Friday, March 22nd and Saturday, March 23rd is Carolina Fiber Fest. That will be, again, in the Carr Scott building on the State Fairgrounds, as it was last year. And we have lots of vendors for that. We have workshops there. You can still register for classes, so go to our website and look at those. We have a skein and garment competition, which is, I believe we're calling the Fiber Arts competition, rather. So you can go online and fill out an entry form if you want to enter something in that. We have free presentations that will be going on both days, various talks from different people about different things, and those are free. The workshops do cost something if you want to sign up for any of those, but we have weaving and spinning and some dyeing and all kinds of classes you can take. We also have the craft along going on, which I showed you my objects last time. There is a knitted shawl pattern and there is a crocheted cowl pattern. Both of those patterns are available free on the Carolina Fiber Fest website. That is www.carolinafiberfest.org. We also have a Facebook group for Carolina Fiber Fest, where you can find out more information. And we are also on Instagram as Carolina Fiber Fest. Anyway, so if you are in North Carolina or in driving distance to Raleigh, or heck, if you're even within flying distance and want to fly in for the weekend, go for it. I hope to see you there. If you see me walking around, please say hi. If I don't know you already, or if I do know you already, please say hi anyway. I may or may not be back to podcast before that event. I know I will probably not be back before Carolina Fiber Frolic, but depending on what's going on that week, I might podcast in between the 2 events. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that was a little scattered and rambling, and I'm sorry about that. A little bit shorter than usual, but that's probably a good thing. And so I will leave you with that, and I hope you will enjoy me next time. Until then, y'all have fun and stay out of trouble, and I will talk with you later. Bye, y'all.